about you? You're very welcome. Hit the buttons if you so choose. And the nice thing about this here is it rolls on. So you can look back a couple of weeks and see what you've said and see if it actually played out the way you said it. I'm beginning to think I'm Mystic Meg here. I'm going to get one of them balls up there. I'm going to go down here and look into my Mystic Ball. Because a couple of weeks I was talking about the last night of the Fla and the Wolfe Tones. And this is what I said. Appreciate it. And this is the end of August, so it's the end of Feeling Football. And I'm doing this a couple of days before the final show, which traditionally is the Wolfe Tones in Falls Park. And traditionally, there will be the flaying of tricklers, and traditionally there will be some singing Provo songs. Usually kids, these peacetime warriors who, as far as I'm concerned, the only time they've seen them is in the movies. But these children sing their songs. And then we will have the traditional reaction. The editor of the newsletter will have a fainting fit. He will almost faint with shock that this happened. And then the editor of the Belfast Telegraph will throw a hissy fit, and they'll demand that funding for Fela is cut because of this happening. And then, of course, and that's exactly the way it's played out. For the last couple of weeks, there's been nothing but continual condemnation, continual obsession, continual commentary about a bunch of kids chanting pro-IRA, half-cut in a field in the Falls Park. Now, I'm not condoning it. It's a load of bullshit. But here's the thing. What are you achieving with all this coverage? You're making it a certainty it's going to happen again next year. Who can legislate to stop stupidity? If we could have done that, we'd have done it years ago. Do you know what I mean? Best thing to do is ignore it. Because there's all the luminaries have all popped up now. All sorts of commentators saying this is not on. This is a disgrace. Well, fuck me. Thank God you were here to point out the obvious. We all know that. There's nothing particularly. We all know that. Here's the question. Have you got an answer to it? I haven't heard one person with an answer. I haven't heard one person with a solution. None. Because there is none. There's nothing you can do. What do you want? Send the PSNI into the Falls Park with 10,000 Wolfe Tone concert goers? I think that may raise other issues. No, if they're going to be singing it, they're singing it in the Falls Park. Nobody would have knew about it apart from anti-social media. And you have to be looking that shade up. You have to actually search to be offended. Hold on, where I want to be. And it's the same on the other side. It's exactly the same on the other side. There was a contentious march. Well, I want to find out to be offended by that. Grow up, will ye? We just need to all grow up and wise up. There's more important things in this. Do you understand? A bunch of kids shouting shite and other people creating shite by burning things on bonfires. These are not the top rank of our society. These are not people who are going to be putting much into our society. So why are we investing so much time and effort at what to do? It doesn't make any sense. While I don't think much can be done about idiots burning posters or flags on bonfires or singing chants at Fela, there is something that can be done here that needs to be addressed. And that is morons putting up offensive flags all across the country, right? And this week we've had dickheads, right? Monkey boys, as I call them, climbing up lampposts and putting Nazi flags outside a mosque in Belfast. Now, here's my prediction. I'm serious. Here's my prediction. I am pretty certain these dickheads didn't know the difference between a mosque and a synagogue. That's the only reason they're outside the mosque. Because they're morons, do you understand? But they are dangerous morons. And the PSNI need to start enforcing the law. They need to start stopping these dickheads sticking flags up poles they should not be. And I don't think that's beyond the possibility of the PSNI. Do you know what I mean? They've got guns, and they've got riot gear, and they've got all sorts of stuff. Surely they could do something about this, particularly. Another example of me hitting on the head something that was going to happen was, remember, I said this about the whole scandal of the leak of police details a couple of weeks ago. Staff, for once, just once, will one of yous have the gall, one of yous in authority, have the decency to stand up and take responsibility for one of the worst balls-ups I have seen. One of the worst examples of amateurish shite I have seen in my life. So, they had a policing board meeting, and Simon Byrne was there, and the policing board agreed with me that no, the PSNI cannot investigate themselves. There has to be an independent panel to investigate this absolute disaster. And Simon Byrne, he took it like a man. He took a decision like a man. He came out and he faced the press and he explained his position. My balls, he did. He got in his car and ran away. He ran out the back door and drove off. That's the caliber of man in charge of PSNI. Is it any wonder it's a complete fuck up? You had another one. You had a high-ranking officer who drove off with his laptop and documents on top of his car. You understand? Sensitive information about other police officers. He drove down the motorway and they fell off the top of his car. Do you know what terrifies me? Do you know what really terrifies me? These people have guns. You trust these people with weapons. I wouldn't trust them with a water pistol. And I think Simon Byrne needs to find our job. I think we should have an investigation about Simon Byrne, because the wee man isn't up to it. Let's be honest about it. The wee man isn't up to it. He's more concerned about officers wearing their uniform at Pride Parade. That's where Simon seems to be investigating. Do you understand? The wee man, God love him, needs to go back on the holiday and just stay on holiday. That would help everybody, Simon. You understand?
Everything